Welcome back to the Weeknight Mysteries podcast. My name is Yuras. I am here with Rain, as always.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Pretty okay. How are you?
Pretty good. Today we're going to be talking about a case from one of our suggestions. From a suggested case from one of our listeners. I believe, but I can't remember who exactly suggested it. I just marked down the Trude Espås.
Are we sure that that's how you pronounce it? Because I believe the A has like a little circle on top.
So how would you pronounce it?
I have no idea.
Let's just say Trude Espås case, and we could refer to this woman as Trude. I think it's going to be easier.
Yeah, let's go.
Trude was a 20-year-old Norwegian woman who was found dead in the little town in Norway called Geiranger, if I pronounce it correctly.
If we're butchering the names, we're so sorry.
I think it's Geiranger. It's a small town, but it's a tourist destination. The town is so small that during peak season, 98% of the people in the town are tourists. Trude went to this town to work after finishing her studies.
Have you ever heard of this town? If it's a tourist town, then...
Geiranger, no, I haven't. Honestly.
Yeah, me too.
But I think it's probably more known in Scandinavia. It's apparently one of the busiest port towns, or like ports, cruise ship ports in Norway. So they have a lot of tourists.
That's interesting.
So let's kind of go over the information. So yeah, this woman, she was found dead only several days after starting her new job. And we do have at least a couple of people to look at. We don't know exactly who they are, but clues were left behind. Okay, so Trude arrived in Geiranger, which is in Norway, on the 31st of July in 1996. So it's a case from almost 3 decades ago. She got a job at Hotel Union as a maid. She was going to work as a maid. Geiranger is a small tourist village in the western part of Norway. It is home to spectacular scenery and has been named the best travel destination in Scandinavia by Lonely Planet. You know Lonely Planet? It's like the magazine that kind of like
Does the travel, tips, tricks, whatever?
It's the third biggest cruise ship port in Norway. It receives 140 to 180 ships during the 4-month tourist season.
That's a lot. I never even heard of this village. It's very interesting.
So,
I mean, it's beautiful.
It's really beautiful. Can you describe it to the audience? What are you seeing right now?
Oh, geez, I can't even... It's like a wallpaper.
It's like a
Windows wallpaper.
It's like a little body of water covered by huge Norwegian mountains.
It's very beautiful. Imagine Disney.
It looks alien, you know.
It does kind of feel a little bit isolating, and like even if it's very, very beautiful, it feels like you're so far away from everything. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get the same vibe.
It feels like you could start to feel lonely at one point here.
Oh, for sure. Several hundred thousand people pass through the village every summer. Several 100,000, okay. And that's a crazy number because there are only 250 permanent residents. So you have thousands and thousands of people, just like crossing the town or like arriving. I think most of them arrive, by the looks of it, via boat. Via cruise
ships?
Yeah, via cruise ships from the looks of it.
I wonder if they actually stay in there, because there's no way 250 people could cater to hundreds of thousands of tourists.
There are plenty of hotels, so I do think that some of them stay.
Yeah, but maybe the
Maybe it's a
cruise
pit
people,
stop.
it's like a bit. Yeah, exactly.
Because when you're on a cruise, do you really hop off of the cruise and
For the whole day.
no, and do you spend time in a different hotel? Why would you do that? You are already in a hotel on water,
Yeah.
so you are gonna only. So this is interesting because the culprit that we're gonna be talking about could have been one of the people from the cruise ship.
Ooh, interesting.
It would give them
Yeah.
a perfect amount of time to commit a crime and get away.
Get away easily. I have a few friends who are working in a cruise ship, and from what I understand is that when they arrive at a certain destination, they are given a few hours to explore. And then after that few hours, the cruise will leave, and if you get left behind, I don't know, like maybe meet at the airport or something.
Yeah,
And the next port.
yeah. I doubt that they're gonna wait around for one person.
So yeah, it's just wanted to mention that information, that there's a lot of, let's say, temporary people, day trip people, I guess.
Yeah, and Trude, she was working in Hotel Union, so it's a hotel named Hotel Union. And Hotel Union, I took a few screenshots for us. It's a pretty big hotel. I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
very pretty.
It looks really pretty.
Looks like a 5-star hotel.
Yeah, definitely. Looks very nice. I took a look of the map of the town. So the hotel is a little bit inland. It's not completely on the coast, but it's still definitely within the town's limits.
So would you say it's a little closer to the mountains instead of the sea?
I don't think so. I think it's closer to like the wooded areas, but it's still kind of on the main road that spans the town. So it's not something in the middle of nowhere. It's still right there in the center. So Trude was coming directly from another town called Alta, where she studied language. But since she wanted to do something else, she decided to work in the tourism for a bit, or maybe she just liked this place and wanted to live here for a bit.
Actually, she studied 2 years worth of English and Russian languages at a university or college way up north, like way up north, the northern part of Norway. Yeah.
Norway, yeah. I've also seen it. It's
It's like crazy up north. It kind of feels, once again,
super isolated.
yeah.
Yeah. Trude had only been in Geiranger for a week when, on the 8th of August, she was last seen alive. She was observed walking down towards the town center around 5 p.m. She had the day off, and so she stopped by the post office and then the local grocery store. And then she walked a few hundred meters along the highway out of the center. So, to paint a better picture, this highway, it's not necessarily what you would, picture in your head a highway to look like. It's essentially a road that's kind of going across this waterway. And it's important to describe this geographical, I would say, location to the listeners so they would better understand. Because on one side of that road, you have water, and on the other side of the road, you have a mountain, So it's literally a road just kind of driving around in between the water and the mountain. It's important because Trude was seen sitting down on a rock, which was adjacent to this highway.
Was she waiting for something?
Well, we
Like
don't.
a bus? Or was she just walking around on her own accord?
So the bus doesn't stop there. It's just a rock, It's kind of like on this road, but there's this big rock on the road where you could sit.
And this road, is it close to, let's say, the town?
It's a 10-minute walk away. It's 400 meters away, so it's pretty close.
But I wonder, is it normal for people to walk in there? To go somewhere?
I would say it's normal. I would say it's more normal, and I would probably say maybe the locals are more used to doing that. But I would say also tourists would also go there.
So it's not that isolated, basically.
No, and there's cars driving on that road on a fairly regular basis. So she sat down on the rock on this highway and she started reading a book. Several witnesses have independently said that they saw a woman matching Trude's description sitting on that rock, so we're fairly certain that it was her. Trude didn't show up to work the next morning, and the employees at the hotel looked for her, but she was nowhere to be found. So a housekeeper from that same hotel union where Trude was working, the following day on Friday, 9th of August, 1996, reported her missing. She hadn't been seen since the previous day. Since the town is small and located within a fjord, fjords are these huge mountains, as I understand, in Norway. It could be something else, but yeah. So because of the geographical location of the town, it was initially feared that Trude was either lost or she had fallen and had hurt herself. They gathered a big search and rescue crew and started the search. Helicopters and police dogs were also involved. The next day, on the 10th of August, which was I think already Sunday, a man entered the police station with a handbag and a book. He found both of these objects on the rock where Trude was last seen sitting, so it was Trude's items. The police initially narrowed the search down to that immediate rock because they were thinking, man, how far could she have gotten? She had left her purse and her book on the rock. Why would she do that? Several witnesses came forward telling the police that they had seen Trude on that specific rock as well. The rock became the center of the investigation. And I think we have a picture of a man that you found. And she's holding... the man is holding Trude's... Looks like...
Kind of like a tote bag.
Looks like a tote bag.
With flowers.
Yeah.
On them.
And below that picture, we have another picture of the location, the rock.
Oh, so this was the rock where she was sitting down, right?
Yes, this was exactly the rock.
It's kind of nice. I could imagine myself sitting down here as well because the scenery, it seems like it's very peaceful.
Yeah.
Like you could just walk down there, your back, or maybe you could face the front. It's like, is this the sea or is this some sort of a lake?
Yeah, but...
Body of water, basically.
I think it's a body of water. Yeah.
And then you would see the cruise, the boats. I think it's very peaceful, especially on a summer day.
With good weather.
Really good weather. Yeah, it's very nice.
But I would also say that this looks to me like something that the locals would do. Because if you're in this place for, let's say, a day or two, you're probably busy
exploring,
going up the mountains. So I think only locals would take their time to read the book here.
I think so, yeah. Because, yeah, if you're a tourist, your time there is limited.
Definitely.
No time to waste. And, yeah, it's basically feels like a very local thing.
Yeah, but also going back to the map a little bit, so it's important to say that, yeah, this rock on one side, okay, so it's like adjacent to the highway, and on one side of the highway there's the body of water. So she didn't go to the body of water because now we know, where her remains have been found. On the other side of that road is a mountainous, kind of foresty area. How would you describe it? Like, I see trees, and it's kind of like a mountain.
It kind of feels like a side of a mountain.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
but it's kind of steep, and I don't think you could easily like climb it up.
Yeah.
So it basically feels like a road, where if you look to your left, there's kind of like a mountain, and on your right, body of water. Ish.
Fair assumption. So, 4 days into Trude's disappearance, on August 13th, a man found a red t-shirt along that road. It was the same t-shirt that Trude was last seen wearing. And it's interesting to me that where exactly was this red t-shirt found? Was it confirmed that it belonged to Trude? I'm not sure about that one, but I think it's probably confirmed. And also, if 4 days later some random person found it, that means that police didn't notice it, so it must have been somewhere maybe hidden a little bit.
It feels like it, yeah.
Along the road, maybe, but I don't. And it's her shirt. So her body and her shirt is in two different locations. So was she like naked from the waist up? Or how do we understand this?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
But why? So maybe, now that we're talking about
She was essayed.
And the person took the shirt for some reason and placed it in a different location.
Or maybe the perpetrator just took it off.
Yeah, this shirt detail doesn't really make sense to me right now.
Maybe
why is the shirt found along the road?
Could there be a chance that the essay happened on that rock?
No,
or
it's
nearby?
impossible. It's impossible.
Because it's too open.
It's too in the open, and there were cars passing, and it's completely impossible, I think. So the essay and the murder definitely took place
somewhere more
into the mountain. The mountain.
More covered.
Yeah. So the t-shirt being found. The t-shirt being found along the road kind of doesn't make sense to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Before we continue, I just want to say I've been looking at the map at where Trude was last seen and where Hotel Union is, and it looks far away. I wonder where she was going that day.
I think that's where she went. I think the idea is that she didn't really want to go any more
further
up north. I think she just went on that rock.
Oh, so there
and
wasn't
it's
a
not
particular.
that far away. I know from the map. It looks far away.
Looks like there's a huge distance.
But it's really just 400 meters. Or sorry, yeah, I think 400 meters, half a kilometer. It's like a 10-minute walk.
Not that bad, but
yeah.
Going towards nowhere though. So
going towards the really nice scenic rock where you would sit down and read a book.
Oh, so that was the destination.
That's definitely the destination, in my opinion. So professional divers also scoured the fjord and other surrounding waterways, but found nothing of note. By then, the police were under the belief that foul play must have been involved in Trude's disappearance, and they had already questioned 11 people, but none of them would wound up being involved. And I don't know any of these 11 people.
Actually, I also tried researching and reading articles in Norwegian, and of course translating them into English if there are any other information that could help us with our case today. And unfortunately, nothing. So there's not much information about this case other than what we have, of course.
I do think there's a lot of questions still. But I think that police have so much information about this case. So we are only left talking about what we can find on the internet, unfortunately. So by August 18th, this is, I believe now, 10 days into her disappearance. Or 9 days, sorry, 9 days into her disappearance. Tourists who heard what had happened to Trude, that she went missing, they voluntarily gave up their cameras, leaving police with over 1,000 pictures to sort through. They had hoped that one of them may have unknowingly captured Trude after her last known sighting, but to no avail. Despite the immense effort and rescue put into finding Trude, the police were ultimately at a loss and failed to find her. But the next day her body was found. 10 days later, after her disappearance, on the evening of the 19th of August, an old married couple was on an evening walk along the highway. Close to the rock where Trude was last seen, they smelled an intense and unpleasant odor. Once again, very strange how no one else picked her up, just this couple. It's kind of bizarre.
Maybe because I wonder what's the temperature in there.
Maybe by that time the body started decomposing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a little bit of a delay because maybe it wasn't that hot.
Perhaps. Yeah, that's a good point. So the smell led them up to some scree. Scree is like a mass of small loose stones that form or cover a slope on a mountain. So it's basically like this.
Is it a natural formation?
Yeah, I would say so. So the smell led them up some scree around 100 meters from the rock. So still pretty close. There the man found a pair of white shoes stuck between some rocks. The couple called the police, who immediately blocked off the area. So when police showed up, they found Trude's body, which was thoroughly covered by rocks. What do you make of that?
Crazy. And I also read this article that says that they saw her hair sticking out and they also found her hair clips. Apparently she was hidden very well, and the police had to search the area with dogs days before the tourist smelled that intense odor, and she was not found. So basically they searched the area way before. They didn't find her.
So the only way to find her is to wait until her body starts decomposing.
It seems so, yeah. So that was how well hidden she was, or her body was. It's crazy.
So do you think that the perpetrator spent a lot of time covering up the body, or do you think that due to, I don't know, like the natural features of that location, it's kind of like hard to find a body?
Somehow I'm leaning towards the first one, mainly because
that they spent a lot of time.
Yeah, that they spent a lot. Whoever the perpetrator was, he or she spent a lot of time covering it with rocks.
Yeah. So although, I could see some more information. Although the cause of death was never publicly disclosed, it is believed that she had been strangled and that she was assaulted, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is also assumed that since Trude's handbag and her book were found on that rock adjacent to the highway, at some point Trude got up from the rock and crossed the road and climbed a hiking trail above the road, which is immediately strange to me. Would you leave your purse and a book and start hiking?
Definitely not. I'm thinking if, for example, a stranger asks for my help, would I go there without my bag? Would you go there without your bag? Would you leave your bag on the rock to quickly help a stranger on the other side of the road?
If it's like really quickly, like something like that, then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just someone, not indicating that they're like about to die or something, then I probably wouldn't. I probably would pack up my stuff.
Yeah,
wouldn't you like pack up your stuff first before?
Definitely. Yeah, I would never leave my stuff on that rock. But I'm kind of assuming that Do you think she was taken on that rock, or was she lured on
I
the
don't-
other side?
As I understand, it's way more likely that she's being somehow lured or that she left the rock on her own will. Because there were cars passing.
Yeah.
So they would have noticed like a struggle. And I think it
definitely.
would be basically almost impossible to get away unnoticed, you know. Police said that they thought that Trude left this rock voluntarily and that the book and the handbag were still there. That's why they believe that she left voluntarily. It was out of the question for them that the murder had happened not on the rock itself, but more into the kind of hiking mountainous area across the road. And the local state highway authority of Norway was doing a traffic count close by at that time, and then the police actually knew that there were about 2.5 cars passing that location every minute. So actually every 20 seconds there's a car driving. So you know that there's little chance that someone could have a struggle
That's true.
close to the highway. So there's no way.
It would have been reported immediately.
Yeah, there's no, and someone would have stopped and helped. So there were also people on boats in the fjord. Also, the fjord is probably the body of water. Oh my god. And people walking the trails close by. However, there was a point on the path just below where Trude's body was found. At that particular part, it's partly hidden from the road, the part where Trude was found. And this is where police think that she was murdered, because that was the only place that it was partly hidden. But it's a very
Specific.
specific location. Who would know that? Because to me it sounds pretty bizarre.
A local?
No, but because look, you have a location which is like very visible for everyone, and then there's a specific smaller location that's not visible for anyone. So you would have to know that that place is less visible. Like, this is a very bad spot to try to commit a crime and try to get away with it. It seems like there's like you're gonna be seen. It seems like there's so many people in this small location. I do think that it must have been somehow. I'm still thinking it's one of those tourists.
You think so? Maybe a tourist has been staying there for longer, not just like a
Yeah.
cruise tourist,
Maybe that was their last day.
potentially. Because I don't know if, for example, I'm putting myself in that scenario wherein I'm a cruise tourist and I only have, like, let's say 7 hours to go around the area and to stay there. Will I go that far, and will I know that path enough to know where it's like, oh, this area is kind of secluded, not much people are going here, this is where I'm gonna commit the crime? Not really.
I would also not know that. So it seems to me that maybe it was
Someone who's already been there, like in that area, maybe once, maybe twice.
or someone who got completely lucky.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I do think that there was a lot of luck involved in this crime. Police found, as you said, her body, and then they found foreign hairs on Trude's socks. And they were able to create a partial DNA profile. The profile was tested against the DNA of all local males in Geiranger, but none of them matched.
Interesting. So
So
could be definitely a local. Not
Also-
a local, I meant a tourist.
Yeah, but also we don't really know, even if you match it up, would that be immediately like the verdict that, whose ever hair that was, would they immediately be considered the killer? I don't think so, right? You probably, because she was working as a maid. So she was like, in other people's rooms.
But then again, this was her day off, no?
This was her day off, that's true.
So if she picked up some hair when she was cleaning during work hours, there's no way that she could.
Also, sorry.
No worries.
Please
no worries.
finish.
No, it's okay. All I'm saying is that there's no way she could have picked. Her shoe picked up some like a strand of hair or so during her work hours, and somehow she managed to carry it up to that the next day up to that rock.
Yeah, but I was thinking, how would the hair even end up in a sock? What the hell?
That's true.
Like someone else's hair in a sock. I do think maybe it was...
She stepped on something.
Or maybe the culprit was moving her body, holding on to her socks, to her legs, to her socks, dragging her body into the location where the body will be hidden, and maybe a hair off the, the head or something, or like a body hair, like rubbed off.
Yeah,
but
that's
then if
most
she
likely.
But then if she was SA'd, why is there so little DNA on her body? Due to decomposition or what?
Potentially,
because
yeah.
there's really feels like there's very little DNA on her body.
And are we sure she got tested?
What do you mean?
For fingerprints and all her body?
I think she got tested because this was apparently a very good police work.
Oh, okay.
So I think they did everything they could. And now let's talk about the German.
Okay, what's this German about?
So there was a German guy.
I love how you just literally, for the introduction, you were like, let's talk about the German.
He is the German because we don't know who he is. We just know he's most likely German because at the time of Trude's disappearance, there were about 5,000 people in the town. 98% of them were tourists. Police reviewed a report from one of the employees at the hotel. The same afternoon as the murder, on the 8th of August, an employee from the same hotel where Trude was working, a female employee, had been laying on some rocks around 500 meters from the rock where Trude had been observed. So
that is so creepy, I just have to say it. Like, can you imagine sitting on a rock 500 meters from where someone got dragged and killed?
Yeah, it's terrible. So the man that... So while she was laying there, this female employee, a co-worker of Trude's, she became aware of an unknown man with an unpleasant behavior. This man was sitting still and stared at her for about 20 minutes, just staring at this woman for 20 minutes.
That's so creepy.
It's insane, right? Mm-hmm. Until he suddenly got up and asked her what the time was, but in German. As if, he expects everyone to just speak German in Norway.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what time exactly or estimately when this happened?
Around 5 p.m.
On the summer, so it's still very light outside, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So after this encounter, he then, and I don't know if the woman responded back or something like that, but I don't know, man. This person, this German guy, potentially, he walked towards the rock where Trude was sitting.
Ooh.
So I think he was maybe walking along that highway. That's how I understand. And now this man became police main suspect when this information came out. So the employee that was kind of creeped out by this German guy, she described him as a pale man, clean-shaven, and appeared to be Northern European. He stood at 6'1", or 185 meter, 185 centimeters, 1 meter 85 centimeters. Had a normal body build, gray blue eyes, and dark brown hair. He was dressed in light shorts and a short sleeved polo shirt with horizontal stripes, blue and white background of the stripes. A sketch of him has been put together. We have the sketch of the man. He literally looks like the most regular white guy like of all time, if you would ask me.
Yeah, I don't want to say this, but he looks very unremarkable.
Yeah, it's like, and it's bad because this guy could be anyone. Like, if this guy looks like the ultimate in his outfit and everything, this guy looks like the ultimate tourist.
Yes.
You know, because what is this outfit telling you? Like, what the wait? What
Oh
I'm trying?
my gosh,
No.
sorry.
I'm not trying to make fun. But what's are you thinking?
No, I just have to say that it screams like, oh, I'm going somewhere a little warmer, close to water by the beach, and so I'm wearing this white beach shorts, but I'm not here to stay for long. So I'm trying to have a nice outfit.
Like what I'm trying to ask is, would a local wear this outfit, or is this outfit strictly for tourists? Because it's tourist, it's super touristy. Like, this is a very touristy outfit, in my opinion. So that's why I think there is a high chance that we're dealing with a tourist here.
How old do you think this man is based on the sketch?
He could be anywhere from like mid-20s to, I would say, even mid-40s. You know?
Yeah.
He is clean shaven, so and he looks to be on the younger side. Another thing of note that so this is all we have. A weird German-asking guy, and he's not super old, so he's not one of those, you know, like cooked out old guys who just would be like speaking to German with everyone because, like, you know, like, don't you understand German in Norway? So he wasn't like that, you know, older guy whose brain's already like melting. So he is strangely asking just in German, but maybe there were so many German tourists that the staff automatically kind of speak German.
Yeah, I could understand that, definitely.
Yeah, I also think that could be the case. So now let's jump to another clue. So another thing of note was that there was an older model American blue car with temporary plates. Temporary plates, I think that probably means that maybe the car was either rented or was about to be sold, you know, because in the process of selling a car, before it's fully registered to someone, at least that's what I understand, you get temporary license plates until, you know, it's permanently registered to someone else. So this blue car was seen, and such a vehicle was last seen in Geiranger, the town, on the day that Trude disappeared, and it hadn't been seen again. And I think it's relevant because the town is very small, so any kind of car that was like unaccounted for, you know, it kind of like it's not a big city, that there's not that many cars there. And
no, I guess what I'm trying to think and what I want to say is that maybe this is just one remarkable car. Like, we don't know exactly like how many cars are there here and there that are. Okay, what if it's just a random, I don't know, Volvo?
Yeah, that would be probably less remarkable than an American car in Norway. That's
maybe
true.
It might be just a complete coincidence that an American blue car is there.
This car was mentioned, though, in some sources as a potential clue that something's weird about it. I don't know why exactly they zeroed in on this blue American car, but there
could just be a unique car that was there on the same day.
But since it's been mentioned, I kind of assume there's something.
There's something else.
There's something to it, but we just probably don't know about it. And so we have this German guy who looks like a tourist. But now we're going to be talking about an account of a couple, a Swedish couple, that most likely witnessed the crime. and they didn't know about it. So we're going to be talking about Royne. Man.
Royne?
Definitely not Royne. Royne.
Royne. I think it's Royne.
Royne, yeah.
Sorry for butchering your name, Royne, if you are Royne.
Yeah, and I feel bad. It's definitely not Royne, dude. There's no way this is Royne. This is Royne. Royne. So let's say Royne and his wife, Brigitta Loff, was a Swedish couple, and they were camping in the town at the same time when Trude went missing on August 8th. And coincidentally, both of them were walking past a woman sitting alone on that rock. And now the police are certain that that was Trude. So it's interesting because these people walked past Trude when she was still on the rock on the highway. But they kept walking up the highway. And eventually they started going back. At around 6 p.m., they were back at that same rock. But now this woman was gone. They didn't think anything of it, you know?
I mean, it's understandable.
It's understandable. Why would you think anything
6
of it?
p.m. could have just went home.
Yeah, so after a few meters, Royne needed to go to the bathroom. So there was no bathrooms. Obviously, they went into the woods to kind of do the thing. They went up a footpath going alongside the highway. So there's this highway that we've been talking about a lot, and there are a few footpaths there. I found at least 2 of them close to the rock, so I'm not exactly sure which one they took, but regardless, they started walking up the path into the mountain, into the hiking location, kind of close to the rock where Trude was last seen. And halfway up the path, the couple heard a scream. They described the scream as cutting, but they also both agreed that it may have sounded like a child's scream.
Maybe Trude just had a naturally small voice. It could have been easily her. I bet it was her.
I mean, I'm convinced this was Trude's scream. So they also described it as terrifying, high frequency, maybe a little panic cry if you think about it, a little hard somehow, but then it became quiet. That's how Royne described the scream. Brigitta doesn't want to go up towards the scream initially, but Royne continues walking towards the scream. So he still hasn't peed yet. He still wants to pee, but now he's walking towards the scream.
I mean, he was brave.
Yeah, he was brave, but he maybe thought it was a kid, you know.
Yeah, it was just really curious, but then again, it was so creepy.
So he was walking towards the scream because he was curious. He goes up the path and looks to the right towards Geiranger town center. That is when he notices what he, at the moment, perceived as a child laying against a cliff. So Royne was around 30 to 40 meters or 100 feet away from this person. And he perceived another man standing over the child. Later, it's almost certain for him, as I understand it, it wasn't a child who he had seen, but that he had seen Trude. It was Trude laying on the cliff, most likely. But he thought it was a child because it was far away. So they went back in 1997, the 2 of them, and they basically tried to reconstruct what they saw. And they took pictures, and we have those pictures right here. And we could take a look at those pictures. And the very first picture, we could see basically Royne and Brigitta You see the two of them? Brigitte is wearing a yellow coat, Ryan is wearing a blue tracksuit. And you see something up that road in the distance.
Yes.
And yeah, would you... Okay, I have very bad eyes. Well, okay, not very bad eyes, but I need glasses. You know what I mean? So if I would be looking there without my glasses, I probably wouldn't notice anything. But I think if I was looking with my glasses, even then I would probably say...
It's a little too far away,
It's too
honestly.
far. It feels like it's too far.
Yeah,
Doesn't it feel like it?
I guess you would see that there's a person there, two people there, but they're kind of like on the, like very small. They're somewhere in the distance. Although you would notice, but then again, I think that if I was there, I would have made the same mistake. Too far away, sounded like a kid, probably a dad and a kid having a little bit of a moment there, tantrums. Okay, whatever. Go about your day.
Yeah. So Rowan said that, I thought it's just a father and his child out playing. So Rowan walks in the opposite direction from the two people that he sees in the distance so he could pee. After he's done, he turns back and he's walking back for a few minutes, maybe 1-2 minutes, to get to the same place where he had seen the man in the distance, okay? And now there's no one there. There's no one there. So he didn't see anyone there anymore. The two people that he saw in the distance, they were essentially gone. And basically what Ron said is that I have those eyes right in front of me. Kind of panicked eyes. That's what I remember.
That's creepy. The killer saw them.
Yeah. He said, was there something about the memory that tells you that... Oh, no, sorry. This is the interviewer asking Rowan later on. Was there something about the memory that tells you that the person on the ground was the same person you saw on the rock earlier? You know, meaning that it was Trude on the ground. Because they did see Trude. That's for sure. And he says, no, there wasn't. I just saw a person lying on the ground. I can see it in front of me now, how she lay down. He stood like halfway over her, leaned back 30 degrees above her. Then he came and he looked up. If he let her go in that moment, I can't remember. That's what he said. So he doesn't really remember much. During all these years, Rowan has tried to remember more details about this encounter. He wanted to find an answer to this question. How could these two people on the path disappear so quickly? Because he came back only a few minutes later and they were gone. When we went there, he said, we thought that they had been in a hurry. When we got down to the main road, the highway, I thought that I would probably see them, but I didn't. So I thought, where did they go? Because there was apparently no other way to go other than on the highway. The body of Trude was found roughly 20 meters from where these unknown persons had been. So this is strange because I think what happened is the killer, once Rowan went in the opposite direction to pee, he immediately dragged the body, but only 20 meters. So that's so close. 20 meters
to the
is
left
so
or
close.
to the right? Because if you go to the left, if you turn, then it would make sense that Rowan didn't see them.
Yeah, but this is why I think that the culprit got super lucky, because Rowan could have easily
gotten more curious.
But then again, I do suspect that Trude was already dead.
That's what I was supposed to say.
Potentially.
I think that the scream
is the dying point.
Yes. And then when Rowan saw the guy, and the guy looked up to him in a panic eyes, when he turned and peed, I feel like the killer, out of sheer panic, adrenaline pumping, dragged Trude away 20 meters.
Yeah.
And it could have been fast.
Yeah, definitely. and I think the killer got so lucky because remember, Trude even left her for some reason. That's also a big question. How did the killer even got Trude to go to the other side of the highway? That's, I think, a big mystery.
I think there could be a potential.
How would he lure her? Like, what would he say?
Could be like, oh hey, could you help me with something over there, just really quickly, please? I don't know what or how he managed to do it. Maybe he did mention that it will be really quick. Sorry to disturb you.
Because what was the German man asking?
What's the time?
Was the time?
Mm-hmm.
So would he also be like, oh, what's the time? No, he wouldn't ask what the time.
No, I feel like the killer asked Trude for help. Quick help.
Do you know where? Maybe he approached her and asked, do you know how to get up this mountain? Is there like a trail?
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a trail going up?
Can you show me really quickly?
Can you show me the trail?
Sorry to disturb you.
Yeah. Is there? And then Trude knew that there was a trail. She was like, oh yeah, I'll come here. I'll show you.
Come here, I'll show you really quickly. And then left her bag.
Oh my god, dude.
Potentially, right?
Yeah, this is so messed up, dude.
Mm-hmm. Because that would make sense that she left her belongings. Because
yeah, but what I'm saying is so scary. You could never know.
Of course not.
Like someone could just ask you for help, and then you will die within minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you believed
that the
this
person was nice.
Yeah, you can never trust people too much, you know, especially strangers. So, yeah, that's kind of bizarre, man. So now let's jump to a clue, a very interesting clue that was found within Trude's living quarters in her room where she was staying, okay? Police started searching her dorm room and they found a clue that would turn out to be one of the most important clues in the case. It was a note. And I have images here of the note, and the note looks very bizarre to me. It doesn't make any sense. So I think what we're looking at in the note is a bunch of words. At some point, the words turn into like names. I think I see mama, papa, you know what I mean? I see like
farm boy
or something like that. And these are crossed out, right? How would you describe this note? This is not a normal note. This is a very bizarre note.
No, honestly, I think it's a normal note. I might have done the same back then. I could do the same.
It's like a to-do list.
Could be like a to-do list. Maybe call mama, call papa. You know what I mean? Or like do something for them. Because I could also see on the edge something in English. Union dancing. And what does that mean? 1 August, something with, I don't understand this language. 2 Aug, so I'm assuming it's 2nd of August.
It could be Norwegian.
Could be Norwegian, yeah. But do you see it? Union dancing.
Oh yeah, wow. Oh my god, you're amazing.
What does that mean?
Union dancing, yeah. Oh wow, yeah. Oh yeah, I see it. Union dancing. Dude, that's a good catch. I have no idea how you managed to catch that. It does say union dancing. I think maybe it's like a dancing party at the hotel. Because it's a hotel union, so maybe it's like
maybe if this was 4th of August, then there was a union dancing on the 4th of August in the hotel.
Yeah, so it is like a to-do list.
It feels like it, yeah.
Like she's crossing out things that she's doing.
I think so.
So why is this interesting? Well, because Trude wrote a diary, and the police found a piece of paper which was this note. Okay. Yeah, a piece of paper that had what looked like notes from her diary written on them, or something like that. So they found this note. And so on the 2nd of August, 1996, she had written 4 words. And this is 2nd of August. So this is 6 days before she went missing. She wrote Ellen Butik Tisker Kriker Ellen Store German crutches. So strange, right? German crutches.
Oh, Ellen Store German crutches. are the translation of the words, the Norwegian words that she wrote, right?
Yeah, could be. So Ellen was an employee at the hotel and was in charge of training Trude. Store may have been referring to that she went to a store after work. The last two words seemed not ordinary, like they were out of place.
I wonder
German
who's Ellen.
crutches, huh?
Who was Ellen?
A worker at the hotel
Okay.
who was training her.
Could this be like a... Yeah, after talking to Ellen, she would go to a store, whatever German, and what she would buy crutches.
No, German crutches is like... Okay, so yeah, it does look like a to-do list, like first Ellen, then store, and then German crutches. And this was 6 days before her disappearance, so even if she did, complete German crutches activity, it doesn't mean that day she died. So, for 21 years, police had no idea what German crutches meant. Could you imagine? 21 years, it made no sense. 2 decades. 2 decades.
Was she about to meet with a German?
So, hear me out. In 2017, 21 years later, police think they finally found out what German crutches meant. After the case had been featured on a German detective show, the Norwegian detective show Asted Norge received an email from Norbert Bartling, a German who was on vacation in Geiranger, in the same town, on the 2nd of August 1996, on the same day when Trude made that note about German crutches. So Norbert told police that he has 3 pictures that may be important. And when, they investigated the pictures, they had potentially solved the German crutches mystery, because in one of the pictures, we see a man, looks like an older man, to be honest, if you're seeing this picture.
And it looks like he's working on the boat.
It looks like he's working on a boat or something. And he has crutches. He looks like he has only one leg, the way I understand it. Oh, and you see the full picture. Oh my God, you found the full picture?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. So yeah, there's a guy in the crutches, and this clearly shows a man with crutches taken on the 2nd of August after they received the picture. Police traveled to the town to speak with a witness. They met a woman named Camilla Ronenberg, who was just 16 at the time when Trude went missing, and she had seen and talked with a man in the pictures. She said that this man asked her very personal questions, like where was she living and how far away was her home. This man spoke German, and when the man left, Camilla never saw him again. The police knew that Trude was in town center around 4 p.m. on the 2nd of August, at around the same time when Camilla met this man. So it's very, I would say, possible that Trude mentioned this particular man in crutches in her notes 6 days before she went missing.
Honestly, I do not think this guy is the killer, mainly because it would be very easily identifiable if he was. Although I'm curious if maybe Trude was about to meet this person for some reason, and if this guy ever showed up again in the village, because he seems like a boat guy.
What kind of a boat guy has one leg, if you know what I mean? Like what kind of a boat guy?
He looks like a fisher dude, though.
And I'm not talking about a guy who has another like
it looks like
metal
it was
leg.
amputated.
Yeah, metal leg. He literally needs crutches to stand still. So this guy can't work on a boat.
Do you think he was just a tourist?
I think he was a
One-time
tourist.
thing.
Yeah, I think he was a tourist. So, yeah. I don't think that this guy that we're looking at is the killer.
Is in any way involved. However, it's pretty weird that it was in the riddle.
Because he's definitely not the German guy that was asking,
what time is it?
What time is it? Mm-hmm. And he couldn't have committed a murder, honestly. There's no way.
I think it would have been very difficult for him. Way too messy.
Impossible to hide the body and stuff.
And come on, Royan literally saw the killer.
And he wasn't, there were no crutches around.
It was so remarkable. Like, if he was a killer.
Yeah, which I don't think he was.
I don't think so. I don't know why he's connected, though.
I think he's maybe not connected anymore. Mm-hmm. In 2017, when they found out who he is. But it's just kind of crazy that there's now a second creepy German guy.
Maybe it is a German destination?
Maybe it is a German destination, you know, because we have a second creepy German guy in the town.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so the most fascinating part of this case, and I think you already you know what I'm talking about, is how the police were able to establish the correct time when Trude went missing. And this is...
I mean, hands down to the police. This was amazing work.
This is next level.
Mm-hmm.
So for our audience, what we're talking about is someone took a picture of the fjord from a distance. And I'm talking about like a panoramic picture, super distant, like you see everything.
Instagram picture, let's say. Nothing's wrong with it.
And this picture was taken at around the same time when Trude went missing, when she was on the rock. So law enforcement, they were able to zoom in and use some sort of crazy technology to see a little, and we're talking about microscopic red dots on that rock.
I still barely could see it.
I can't see it.
Even with the red circle, I can't see
I can't see anything, but they were able to establish that there was the red
dot, which was Trude because she was wearing a red shirt.
Yeah. And there was another picture taken. I think that this person took 2 pictures or something. And in the second picture, there is no red dot. So this means that I'm literally zooming in as I talk. I have no idea how they found this red dot. It's mind-boggling, dude.
Mm-hmm. I guess if...
Like, this is NASA.
Maybe they took a picture, the same picture of the fjord, and they saw that there's one less dot. And that's how they knew it was Trude. I don't know.
No, I think someone took 2 pictures.
Mm-hmm.
One picture when there is this red dot and another one where there isn't. I don't know. It's fascinating to me, okay? And this is where we jump to the most recent developments. May of 2023. There was basically a woman who accused her son of being the killer. Do you know about the story?
Yes, but I'm wondering, was she German?
I don't think so.
Norwegian, right? A local.
I feel like it was a Norwegian person. So a woman not last year, 2023, May 2023, a woman came forward and said that her son confessed to the murder. And this was the second time she came forward, because the first time she came forward was in 1999 November, only 4 years after Trude was found dead. So she was questioned in 1999, and she said that her son confessed during a heated argument, meaning this was in fact the second time she came forward. He also told her that he was in Geiranger that day without anyone knowing about it, and was driving an old blue car that he had rented, kind of like the American blue car, I guess. Supposedly, he had put his hand over Trude's mouth after she started screaming during consensual
You know what?
you know what, and wanted to silence those screams as he was scared passerby would think he was SA-ing her. He kept his hand over her mouth until he wound up suffocating her by accident. This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. What about the screams that
Trude
Roy
was
heard?
Trude was just there to read a book. She wasn't about to have public indecency with some random guy who's only there for like
a day or so.
a day or like just for that moment.
And what about the screams? The what do you call that?
The child scream
The child panic screams that
doesn't
Roy
sound
heard.
like something the type of scream you would make during like indecency, like let's say
That would be very specific, and I bet that Swedish couple would have known.
yeah. It didn't sound like that at all. And the problem that this man, this son of hers that she was accusing, well, he was already dead back in 1999. So when she was confessing, he was already dead. We don't know exactly how he died, but he wasn't alive anymore to defend himself. The car was not the smoking gun, one would think, as two of the same model were in the area, and the witnesses were inconsistent on what color the license plates were. But most of all, everyone else who knew him said that that was straight up impossible, and that his mother was lying about him, her dead son. He worked in Oslo and was there on August 8th as well, giving him an alibi. Furthermore, no one was able to link him to Geiranger that day. His bank card wasn't used. Nobody had seen him. He hasn't gone to any local stores, boarded any boats. The police never saw him when they were questioning everybody they saw in the town. He did travel to Geiranger on August 8th in 1997, the one-year anniversary of Trude's murder, but the police believe that that's a coincidence. But that's a
really creepy coincidence.
That's a creepy coincidence, I'm not gonna lie. He often traveled across, or maybe the mom knew that he was there on the anniversary one way or another, and that's how she later on tried to make it seem creepy.
Oh, come on, wait.
He came back, though. We know he came back.
She researched about a case to point
I think it's a big case. I think it was a national case. So I don't think you need to research it. I think probably a lot of people in Norway knew about it. But I do think there's a way how she probably seen it.
Twisted
it to make it seem, but he was there the next year.
Jeez, how much does she hate her son?
Yeah, it feels like there's something happening there. He often traveled across Norway and only did so with his friends, so going there alone would be highly out of character. It looks like there was a beef between these two people, like mother and son. So the police checked with Norwegian Public Records Administration to see if he may have rented or had access to a blue car with temporary plates, and nothing in the records indicated that he had. He did rent a green vehicle in 1996, but that's irrelevant. Based on the 1999 interview of this woman, police were already considering him, apparently, but by 2023 they were able to rule him out definitely. Either he lied to his mother during the argument in public place that no other witness attested to. So apparently they were arguing in a public place when he apparently told her mother, "I killed Trude. I am the killer." But then no one else heard it. Or for some reason his mother is lying about him after his death.
I kind of feel like it's not real.
It's not real, in my opinion, too. I don't buy it. And the last person that came out there that was maybe questioned by actually Trude's family, as they were desperate for a resolution, they briefly considered that a man named Tony Alexander King might be responsible. So I looked into this Tony guy, and Tony Alexander King was an S offender from the United Kingdom, who is now serving life imprisonment for the murder of Rocio Vankinkov and Sonia Carabantes in Spain. However, nothing shows that he was in Norway at the time. I looked into this person a little bit. So he was a S offender. And he did a lot of bad things. But, and I think he did it outside of the UK, but as far as I remember, there was
nothing
there literally
here specifically.
Yeah, nothing connecting him there. So I really don't. I think it's a far-fetched theory that this person could be involved.
Yeah,
in such a very specific place. Yeah, that's it, man. We did it. So we did it. We finally went through all of the information about the case. The only things that are left, questions and theories. Right?
Yes, definitely. Honestly,
sorry about that.
That was such a weird pause, by the way.
Yeah.
But honestly, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of people involved. There's basically barely anyone involved in this case, but at the same time, it could have been anyone. And it was so easy to escape.
Well, I don't think necessarily it was easy to escape.
Wait. Do they have an airport, by the way? Just, it's the port town, right?
Yeah, I don't think they have an airport.
So I'm really just leaning towards the tourist who's staying in a cruise ship or something.
Yeah, or like not necessarily a cruise ship. It could have been someone staying in one of those hotels randomly, because there are also buses. I've seen buses that go there, like a bus filled with people as well.
Like a tourist bus.
Yeah, but usually, I don't know. This doesn't look like a location where, this killer would go. And is this... Okay, so we have a sketch. Okay, so what do we know? What do we know generally? What we know is that the man on the crutches is like a red herring, in my opinion. He's not relevant. I think what's relevant for us is obviously the tourist-looking guy who was speaking weird in German.
Looking at someone creepily for like 20 minutes. Yep.
So who would this guy be? What kind of a person is this? Is this a person alone on the trip? Or is this a person with a family who went to the trip with family? Because this location... It's not like I don't know, doesn't look like a party location. You don't go there to party. It's like a very scenic, peaceful... I would even assume that it's like maybe for older people.
It kind of feels like it.
It kind of feels like it's the whole location is for older people. What do you think? So it's like... What do you think? What could be the background of this culprit?
I think he could have been alone or part of a tour group. Because I don't think that if he's completely alone, this would be his destination. It feels just like a pit stop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although if this was his destination, I don't know, I'm completely assuming here, completely guessing, but he gives me this vibe of like, with some other dudes, some guy friends maybe. But it's just like a complete speculation.
I think it makes sense. I think it could that definitely could be the case. I'm also thinking, okay, so do you believe that the person who was asking in German for time, do you think that is the killer?
Somehow, yes.
Yeah, me too.
Mainly because after staring at someone so creepily for 20 minutes sitting on a rock, and then afterwards...
You're almost picking a target.
It feels like that, and then he went towards Trude's direction.
Yeah.
it's just really weird.
I agree with you that
Right?
I'm leaning towards that the German person was the killer. Do you think that his intention was to kill or just to SA?
I feel like just SA, and it went wrong. What do you think?
If he was going to SA someone in such a small town,
It would have been easy to find him, unless he would leave on the same day.
on the same day, that's what I was thinking. So if he was only there to SA, and it's likely that he's leaving on the same day.
I think so. Because if he was there to kill, he could have been way more careful about it, you know. He could have went back to the rock, the cursed stuff, and hid it as well.
He may have not known that her stuff was on the rock.
Yeah, that's true.
I somehow believe that this person was maybe someone traveling alone,
You think so?
not with anyone else and not with a group of people. I don't think he relied on a cruise ship or a travel bus.
You think he was driving alone?
I think he was driving alone because if he's attempting to do this, and I think he's probably on the move quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not going back
But why?
to a ship.
But then again, why in such a specific place? This is such a small place. And if he was German, that means he doesn't know this place as well as a local
He's a solo German traveler.
who chose a very specific spot that's really small.
But it's really famous. And he just left with his own car. That's what I'm thinking.
It just feels a little too niche, this location, I guess. Maybe not. Maybe not for Northern Europeans. I don't know. What
Do
think?
you so it's not a niche spot.
It's not?
It's not. I could see how for
Someone from
Germans,
Denmark would go here or
yeah,
something.
I could see that.
Easily.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a niche spot. It's a very famous spot. So we ruled out the mother's confession theory, right?
Yes.
And we ruled out Tony Alexander King,
I think he's a little too...
far-fetched.
Yep.
It really leaves us with this German guy. Do you think he went back to Germany?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm still somehow convinced he's part of like a tour group or something. And this was just one of the destinations and he did it hastily and left.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think he stayed though.
I don't think so. I
Definitely
think
not.
he left.
I don't know if he left Norway. I don't know if he went back to Germany. I just have a feeling that he left the town.
The town. Do you think...
What do you think, Emin?
I agree. Do you think that this guy killed again? Or killed before?
Ooh, that's a really tough question because the way that he hid the body is good. I meant like well hidden.
Yeah, well hidden.
Not really good, sorry. But he was also spotted, so that's kind of like a rookie mistake-ish if he actually did it before. I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah, I guess we will never know.
I don't think we'll ever know.
I agree. The two biggest questions that remained for me personally in the case is, first of all, why did Trude leave her stuff on the rock? And I know we talked about it, like, this guy could have approached her and asked for some quick help. I get that. But I do think that this could potentially lead to the answer who this German killer is, because maybe there was something specific. And what could be that specific thing that would make Trude go across the highway with the guy? Maybe he's...
Oh, my friend tripped and he couldn't walk anymore. Could you please help me pick him up?
I don't think that would be the case for some, or maybe. For me, it feels like he could have approached Trude and asked for, like, directions. So someone asking for directions a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there was some other person that was asking for directions, or like around. Maybe there was a weird guy already, even before Trude was murdered, in that location, walking around. Maybe someone could remember that,
Yeah, maybe. Do you think she was held by knife point?
I think that's possibility. I think that's possible.
Mm-hmm. That she just had to stand up and leave all of her stuff behind?
It's assumed that she was murdered by strangulation, not stab wounds.
That's true.
So it's hard to say.
Because that would explain why all of her stuff was still in the rock.
Yeah.
On the rock, easily.
That she was... No, it wouldn't.
No, it's like, for example, you're held at knife point. Come in.
She would have... I don't think anyone would take that risk. Because...
it's out in the open.
Yeah, there's a car every 20 seconds. No one would take that risk. It's not likely, in my opinion. I don't think it was like that. But I do think that somehow he was convincing enough, and he seemed not dangerous enough at first. So it's a person who's a good chameleon. And if he was, let's say he was 30 in 96. He's now almost 60. There could be a 60-year-old German guy who's doing it and keeps killing people. Is there any other murders that you know that like have similar?
No, not really. Not related to this one. Nope.
Yeah,
or like with the similar.
Maybe there is a German guy killing people.
I mean,
the same guy like across Europe, killing people like that.
I think we need to dig even deeper.
Yeah, potentially. And the last question that I have that is weird for me about the case is, how did this guy get away so quickly? I guess it was possible, but according to Royn, he was shocked.
I think adrenaline was pumping.
Yeah.
So it was easy to just drag someone far away like that. Well, not really far away. What, 20 meters? 200 meters? I can't remember.
100 meters. 20 meters away
20
from...
Yeah, meters. I think it would have been easy, and he's a dude.
But I think there was no way for him to escape, because I think he had to...
But then Royn didn't really investigate much. He just looked and left.
I guess.
The killer could have easily just been hiding, waiting for them to walk away, and then walked back after them.
But somehow this person didn't leave enough clues behind to get identified. There was a profile. Do you think that DNA profile is of the killer?
I do think so.
I think so too.
It's like oddly specific.
On the sock. Very specific. A lot of questions, man. I would like to wrap it up here, because I think we've talked about this case.
But one more question.
Okay.
Do you think that Royn and Brigitte witnessed the murder?
Yeah.
Was it that, or do you think it was just a random dad and kid?
I think it's definitely the murder. What do you think?
Definitely.
I mean, I have no questions about it. It's in my mind. They saw the murder.
I think so too.
What do you guys think? Did
you maybe we have any locals here, Norwegians?
We definitely have. We have one person who's a Norwegian person.
Hello.
commenting a lot, so we love that.
Maybe we missed something,
No,
right?
that person is even the same person, I believe, who suggested it. I just didn't mark it down who suggested this case to us this week. But thank you guys very much for listening to the Weeknight Mysteries podcast. Another we're successfully pushing them out. Yeah, every week. Man, on a good roll. Let's keep it up. I could see some more people listening. We have not a lot of people increasing, but we had a huge spike of listeners this one day. It was kind of bizarre. So who knows? Maybe we'll get even more people joining the podcast audience. And
hopefully you enjoyed this case and this week's episode.
Yeah.
And if you have any more suggestions, case suggestions, could be paranormal, could be true crime.
Anything you
let us
want
know.
us to talk about, we will.
Yes.
Thank you and
See you.
good night.